on him!
Hey guys, this is Adam at 2012 E3 with my friend here, Francois, talking about Assassin's Creed 3 single player mode. So, Francois, what would you say is the biggest overcoming that the Assassins will have to do in this new installment?
Well, Assassin's Creed 3 is a new hero. It's a new period. It's a new context. And so that, in that regard, is that's refreshing. That's the big thing for this year.
Makes sense. Now, this new hero you're talking about,
Connor. Connor's is more American name. But when you think of it, his native name is Radun Agedun. Yep.
So, Native American?
Half British, half Native American, yes.
What separates Connor from previous Assassins, Altair and Ezio?
Well, when you think of Ezio, he's someone that he's probably one of the best character in the video game industry or video game period. So, but very different kind of personality. When you think of Ezio, very flamboyant, very true to his period. Connor is more, he's come from a small village in the woods, from a native village and all, and different abilities. Someone that's going to fight for freedom, and not just vengeance. So very different personality.
So obviously, history plays a big part in these games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you say this game could be educational in any aspect whatsoever?
I mean, this is something that happens by itself. I'm super proud to see people getting when they get to Venice or Florence and they say, hey, I was here in a video game in Assassin's Creed 2 and all, and hopefully it's going to be the same for Assassin's Creed 3, where you'll get in Boston, you'll see the whole State House or the Federal Market. Hopefully it's going to happen. The purpose is obviously not to educate people, but it happens at the same time. So it's great. We have historians on the team. We're working with universities just to make sure that we also have this rule on the team that you cannot prove us wrong within 30-second search on Wikipedia of anything that you see, historically speaking, obviously, in the game. So yeah, absolutely. Very proud of it.
That's very cool. And one more question here. With the previous installments, it's all been essentially city-based. Large mechas, large cities, all that stuff. In this installment, we see a lot of outdoors. Yeah. Is that going to be a large part of the game, or are we going to stay in two major cities most of the time?
Well, it's two major cities. They're big. I mean, when you think of Boston, New York, from the period, it was not small cities. But it's true that this one, with the frontier, the wilderness, all organic environment, so your navigation, typically in the past ACs, very, Ezio was very comfortable climbing buildings, very straight and predictable buildings. This time around, with very organic trees, it's very different. It's always the funny thing, we talked about, is that when we're a kid, or the more natural climbing that we've been doing in the past was climbing a tree. I never climbed a building, I climbed a tree when I was a kid. So no, it feels like it's natural now to go in there. But we also have naval battle as well. So it's not just on land, but it's also on sea. When you think of the American Revolution from period, it was very important. There's a lot of battles, historical battles that got won on the seas. So, yep.
All right, guys, you heard at E3 2012, Assassin's Creed is fought on all fronts, water or land. So, thank you, Francois, very much.
Thanks to you.
Yep.
Thanks to you guys.
Thanks, guys. All right, guys, keep on gaming.